Hello, this is Chris Duncan at Find Your Focus Photographic Education, and today I want to show you a quick tip that we learned from the Waldens this past year, and I just wanted to share it with you and how we've adapted a little bit, and it's on some retouching. So we're going to get started. I got this beautiful picture of this lovely bride here. I've already done some skin softening through portraiture. Most people understand that, but I want to show you a few extra techniques that we do, and one is with the hair. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit on this hair and show you what we've picked up and how we really like to do the hair. Now we could try to clone patch and fix all these little strays, but if there's a way to just kind of soften it a little bit, I think that's a better option, and I want to show you a technique that we learned. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate my layer by hitting Command J. I'm going to go to Filter and then go to Oil Paint, and this is I'm working in Photoshop CC. CS6 has this as well. And this goes to Oil Paint. And my settings are already set how I like it on the right. You can see stylization, I like anywhere between a 4 and a 7. I have it about 5.5 now. Each image is a little different, so you can play with that. Cleanliness, I bring all the way up to 10. Scale, I bring to 10. Bristle detail, you can adjust this too. I like it about the middle, around 6, 5 to 6. Your angled direction of your lighting, you kind of want to bring that in the same direction as your lighting. So if you light from the left, above Rembrandt, you're looking at 120 degrees or so if you're from the other side. So just that might be adjust on where your lighting is, because that's going to put a deeper shadow and highlight on it based upon the light direction. And shine 0. So once I get my settings the way I want, I click OK. It's going to apply this filter to the whole thing, but I don't want to apply it to the whole thing. You can see there's some nice stuff on her hair and her veil and her eyes, but it's a little too heavy. So if I turn it off, turn it back on, what I do is I put a layer mask on this, and I hit Command I to invert that layer, and then I hit B to get my brush tool. And so I have my brush tool here. And one thing I really like with this new CC is you see this little icon here, this little compass looking thing. That is my brush shape. And so I make it kind of an oval looking, and I'll come back to this frequently and angle it. But what I'm going to do is have my brush set at about 60% opacity. Remember, I'm on an inverted layer mask, so I need to make sure my brush is white to paint this in. And I'm going to start brushing that paint effect into her hair. And even some of these little things up top where they get into the background, it helps disappear those. And I want to follow with her hair. And so I'm just kind of painting. I really like what it does around the skin where the hair kind of attaches to the scalp. Just softens that transition, especially on a bride when they've spent all this money getting their hair, just make it look a little bit better. And this is where that lighting direction comes in really particular, to make sure your highlights and your shadows in this hair matches. You don't want to get any weird looking things. So make sure when you do this filter that you looking at your angular direction in that preference panel. So you can see, I'm going to rotate this brush this way to follow the hair like this, because that's kind of the way it's going. So now I've got this nice, soft, clean, smooth looking hair. Doesn't look overly done, I don't think. Just really brings out the strands. So I'm going to hold my space bar and go down here and get these little sections. Doing this a little quicker, I would always angle my brush, change that direction. If you're not using Photoshop CC or CS6, actually I think just CC, you have to go to your brush palette over here and hit shape done and hit brush tip shape, and you can do it over here too. With the new upgrade, hitting that right click is just really fancy to bring that window up. So you can see how this really, all those little strays against the skin just seem to soften into it. So we can thank Tim Walden for this technique. And I've taken this and adapted. I do a lot of commercial work too, and I really like it on like tomatoes in a salad, cheese. I've used it to kind of soften some cheese that might look weird. So there's a lot of different applications. Okay, so let's go up here and let's turn this layer on and off. And you can see just by brushing that effect in what it's done. I really like it. Now if you want to take that a step further, you can go in here, take a smaller brush, lower your opacity to maybe 30%, and just hit these eyebrows. And on what, and maybe hit the lips just a little bit, soften those lips just a tad. Not overly done, but it just gives them nice, luscious looks. So I'm really liking the way this is turning out. It's subtle. It's these subtle things that matter. And another thing with brides that you might want to look at is taking this, and on here you can probably raise your opacity higher, almost to 70 or so, and hit some of the veil. Some of this, you don't want to do it too much, but maybe right around the edge of that veil, any like stray strands, stitching or something, it just helps kind of clean those up. Anyway, that's all using the oil paint filter in Photoshop. I'm going to do a few other things in another video, but for right now, just wanted to show you that quick trip using oil paint in Photoshop CC. Make sure you duplicate your layer, invert that layer mask to black, use a white brush, and vary the opacity and the brush tip shape to paint in the way you want. So once again, there's our before and there's our after. Nice subtle differences in the hair. So once again, this is Cris Duncan at Find Your Focus Photographic Education. I appreciate you watching today, and we'll see you again real soon. Happy creating.